Hello, my wonderful band of merry O-Satters. I bet this came as a surprise to see a video from me here on your YouTube feed. Welcome to this, the 84th episode of the Sockmatician podcast. My name is Nathan Taylor, otherwise known as Sockmatician, all over the internet, and I have been absent from podcasting for a very, very long time. So to be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. It's been a year, I think, since the last episode came out, which was number 83. This is number 84, and I am delighted to be back in the saddle. So, I mean, if I try to tell you everything that's been going on in the last 12 months, I've got some fibres on my nose already just because I was playing with some knitted goods to show you a little while later, and I've already got an itchy nose. I'm delighted to be back in the saddle. It feels way too long. I have reasons for that, which I'll tell you about later on, because as you've already seen, this episode is called The Eagle Has Landed, and that is for a very, very good reason. But before we get on to all that juicy goodness, why don't we have a little look at the number 84? Let's do that old thing, shall we? I was looking at 84 on my on the internet, on Wikipedia, in fact, which will get all my numbers information from. And I'll just read you the list, shall I? It says here, this is the opening statement, which always makes me laugh. 84, brackets 84, is the natural number following 83 and preceding 85. I love that kind of stuff. 84 is the sum of the first 7 triangular numbers, making it a tetrahedral number. So let's unpack that a little bit. A triangular number, if you imagine a snooker board or a billiards board, but snooker is a good one because in the frame, the triangular frame at the top of a snooker game, you've got 15 balls in the triangular frame, which is 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, and they're stacked into a nice little triangle. So 15, therefore, is a triangular number. It's the 5th triangular number because it's you get 1 on its own, then you get 1, 2, 3, and then 6, and then 10, and then 15. Those are the triangle numbers, taking you up to 15 that way. Now, if you add the next one, 50 will go to 21, and then if you add the next one, 28, so 28 plus 21 plus 15 plus 10 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1 should be 84. So that's the sum of the first 7 triangular numbers. And it's called a tetrahedral number because you can stack those triangular numbers on top of each other. So if you've got a triangle which has 7 balls on each side, a triangle with 6 balls on each side will sit very nicely on top of that with 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that number is 84. That's kind of fun. It's also a dodecahedral number, which is similar to a tetrahedral number. So you can arrange 84 balls into a 3-dimensional shape that makes up a dodecahedron, which is a 12-sided shape. I believe it's a rhombic dodecahedron because there are 2 types of dodecahedron. I don't know where I'm going with this. The first type of dodecahedron is the one that you probably all know, which is got each of the sides has each of the faces has 5 sides, like each one is a pentagon. Looks a bit like a football, but not quite. But the other type of dodecahedron is a rhombic, so it's a diamond shape. So each of the sides is a diamond shape, and 12 of those. I think it's that 84 is that kind of dodecahedral number. It's the I love a prime. It's the sum of obviously, it's not prime. It's even. But it's the sum of a twin prime, and the twin primes are 41 and 43. Twin primes, of course, are 2 prime numbers that are only 2 digits apart. So 41 and 43, therefore, are twin primes because they are both prime numbers. Add them together, you get 84. Now, this is where it gets a little bit scary. It's a semi-perfect number being thrice a perfect number. 3 times a perfect number. So a semi-perfect number is actually so I'll start with I'm going to try and unpack some definitions for you. Every I've forgotten a bit. So 84 is 28 times 3. So 28, therefore, is a perfect number, is it? Yes, it is. So I'm going to get this wrong. So 6 is the lowest perfect number. 6 is a perfect number because it is equal to the sum of its divisors. Now, a divisor is something that it can be divided by. So 6 can be divided by 1, you get 6. It can be divided by 2, you get 3, and it can be divided by 3, and you get 2. And if you add those divisors together, 1 plus 2 plus 3, you get 6. So it comes back to the number you started with. So that makes 6 a perfect number. Now, a semi-perfect number in number theory is a natural number that is equal to the sum of all or some of its proper divisors. So all perfect numbers are also semi-perfect, but semi-perfect, so it is equal to some of its divisors. Now, it turns out that every multiple of a semi-perfect number is also semi-perfect. I believe every multiple of a perfect number is also semi-perfect, and because 84 is 3 times 28 and 28 is certainly semi-perfect, it's won't get a bit lost in my own maths here. That means it's also semi-perfect. Let's move on from that as quickly as we possibly can. It's a palindromic. It's a palindromic number. What you say? Palindromes are the same backwards and forwards. In base 10, it's 8 and 4, but in because we count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've only got 9 fingers if you start with 0. You can't start with 0 because that's 1 finger and that's not 1. So I don't know how that works, but you know what I mean. In bases 11, 13, 20, 27, 41, it's a palindromic number. Just accept that. Accept it and move on, because otherwise we're here all day. It is also the lim sup, which stands for limit superior, of the largest finite subgroup of the mapping class group of a genus G surface divided by G. I ain't even going to begin to unpack that. I have no idea. What is 84 also? It's got lots of divisors. This is the fun part about 84. You can divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 12, 14, 21, 28, 42, and 84. That's quite a lot of divisors. Divisors, not just a town in Wiltshire. Divisors, not devices. Its Roman numerals are LXXXIV. LXXXIV. That's good, isn't it? It is also the dial code for Vietnam. So if you need to place a call to Vietnam in a hurry, just remember it's going to be +84 to get you there. And that's sort of it. Oh, it's also the number of Earth years it takes Uranus to orbit the Sun once. Enough! How are you? How have you been? It's been such a long time since I've seen you. It must appear that I have vanished from the face of the earth, or certainly from the face of the knitting sphere. That's not the case. It's genuinely not the case, and that's what this podcast episode is all about today. I want to share with you exactly what I've been doing and why I've been so silent for such a long time. Many of you will remember that back in November 2019, so pre-pandemic time, in November 2019, I launched a Kickstarter funding program on the Kickstarter website to fund the writing process of a book that I wanted to write on the topic of double knitted brioche, which is the technique that I've spent the last I don't know how many years developing and pioneering and sort of furthering and experimenting with and discovering stuff within. And I wanted to write a comprehensive manual on the technique so that it could be something that doesn't just live in my head and in a couple of patterns that I might design, but it can be something that many, many more people can get the benefit of as well. Excuse me, I've got something in my eye. Yeah. So if you see me making funny faces, it's because I got something in my eye and I can't get it out. So that's the Kickstarter was successfully funded in November 2019, and I really did think, I thought that I would be able to write the book in about 6 months. This was because my first book, Guys Knit, took me about 6 months to write. What I didn't realise was just how big a topic this was, what a huge amount of different techniques and things can be done within it. And the more I delved into it in the writing of the book, the more I discovered, the more I wanted to then put into the book, and the more the book grew and the parameters changed. And then I wanted to make sure that I had a decent number of things to design, patterns, so that it wasn't just my worry was that the book would just become a cul-de-sac, and it's like, well, here's a whole technique, and all you can do is knit these 4 patterns in the back of the book. That wasn't good enough. So there are 16 patterns in the book, so that took a long time to design and knit. And then, as I say, the technique grew and snowballed and snowballed. Then there was a pandemic, and everything sort of went haywire for a bit, and a lot of people, myself included, had issues with sort of motivation and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, rather than taking 6 months, it took over 3 years. And that brings us up to the present day. So the way I funded it was that my backers were not just donating supporters, they were people who had bought the book up front. So I had a responsibility to deliver that book to them. I had also promised them a slight early bird period. I'm still ironically calling it their early bird copy, even though it's 3 years late. And that would be an exclusive period where it was just available to the backers. At the time of writing, the eagle has landed and I have finished the book. I am so incredibly proud of it. The writing actually was done about a year ago, but I have spent the last 10 months or so learning how to, it's been a slow process, but learning how to use InDesign, which is the software that I use to lay out the book. I have done everything on this myself, so I have written it all. I have done all the photography for the tutorials, all the videos. I've shot 96 separate tutorial videos, which are exclusively attached to this book, hidden on my website with special codes that you can QR codes in the book, or you can click on the PDF. It's an ebook only, I should say. It's ebook only, that's really important. There are 16 patterns. It's 464 pages long. It's a monster. The PDF format that I've used to put it together in, the PDF itself is 205 megabytes, so it's large. There's loads of it. There's essays in it about how I came to figuring this stuff out, and the development from traditional brioche, which is of course done in 2 passes with 1 yarn at a time, to double knitted brioche, through 1 pass brioche, which I used to call it. It's all in the book. There's so much information in it. There's over 1,300 tutorial pictures. As I say, there's the 16 patterns, many of which you've seen over the time. There's the big poncho, the shawl. I'll put a little collection of stuff at the end of this podcast, so you can see a little bit of it. Today is the 11th, I think, of April, and I'm so pleased to be able to say it is done. So at the time of writing, at the time of recording this, we're in that 2-week zone. So all of the backers now have had their copy of Sockmatician's Double Knitted Brioche, which is the title of the ebook, and I've already seen photographs of people experimenting with it and swatching and trying out some of the patterns in the book already, which gladdens my heart more than I can possibly tell you. It is so exciting. I mean, the book looks like this. I mean, it's been up there for a while. And on Saturday this week, so if you are watching, well, I'm gonna delay releasing this podcast episode until Saturday the 15th of April. I'll probably upload it and put a future date premiere for it. So Saturday the 15th will be the first time you'll be able to see this, which means the book has now been released. It hasn't. This is future Nathan talking. So assume it is now after Saturday the 15th of April 2023 when you are watching this. The book has now been released, I'm so excited to say, and is available to purchase and download from Ravelry. So the book costs £25. And I think that's a really, really fair price for 464 pages, all those photographs. I've added up the amount of the duration of those 96 videos. It amounts to more than 9 hours of video tutorials, all attached to this book. The patterns, the essays, the beautiful photographs, the sample photography was done by my sister's partner, Nigel Armitage, who's a master leather craftsman, and it was all done in his leatherworking studio and workshop, which is not too far from Birmingham. And it was a really, really wonderful backdrop, and he's taken some amazing pictures and made the patterns look spectacular. He really, really has done wonders with them, and I've thoroughly enjoyed editing all of those and getting the best out of them in terms of lighting and quality and stuff like that. It's been a really, really exciting process. I can't tell you how much it means to me that this book is now out. I've been working on this pretty much solidly for 3 years, but it's been in development for at least 6 or 7. The very first pattern that I released for this, was it? So there are 2 patterns already on my Ravelry page that have what I was referring to one pass brioche, because my intention with all of this was to come up with a way of creating brioche knitted fabric, without having to do it in 2 passes, without having to work each row twice. I love the texture of brioche. I love everything about it, except how it's worked. I hated the faff about doing it double the amount of effort, working every stitch twice, takes far too long, as well as the fact that you've got 4 different types of row to look out for and to understand. You've got a light side light coloured row, a light side dark coloured row, a dark side dark coloured row, and a dark side dark light coloured row. Dark side light coloured row. I think that's right. And that's quite a lot. With a lot of help from a lot of people, developed this way of doing it, which is all done in one pass. So it very much takes its cues from double knitting. In fact, it feels very much like double knitting when you're doing it, which is using both yarns at the same time and working across each row in one pass. There's only one row to think about. There's literally only one row to think about. It's the same whether it's an outward or a return row. It halves your knitting time, but more importantly to me, what it gives is the kind of 100% reversible symmetry between front and back that traditional brioche doesn't give you. So both sides of traditional brioche can look quite nice, but they're not the same. In double knitted brioche, they are. And for me, coming to it as a double knitter, that was really, really important to me. Let me see if I can just have something, look in one of these bags here to show you what I mean by that. Oh, hang on. I've got a bag full of bagfuls of stuff here. So here we go. Crinkle, crinkle. So in terms of the increases and decreases on traditional brioche, if you've got two lines of stitches which are converging like that into a decrease, where the 2 lines at the bottom become 1 line at the top, that's what it would look like on the front of the work, but on the back of the work it will look like that, and the lines won't meet. Now here in double knitted brioche they absolutely do. So we've got this texture here, and can you see, let's look at that. That's the front there. There's 2 lines of stitches coming into 1 line there. Now if I hold that between my finger and thumb and turn it over so you can see, that is the back of it, and look, there they are coming together beautifully. There are no gaps in double knitted brioche. It's the same on both sides. I can show that a little bit more succinctly with a more regular pattern. So here we've got the lines of, can you see that in the lighting? It's kind of a bit weird. The lines of orange stitches, they diverge and converge and come together like that, all looking beautiful with no gaps. And on the reverse, they look exactly the same. That's what double knitted brioche can do, and that's why I got so excited about it. So that's why it's taken me so long to get it all done. So there are 42 different types of decrease that are highlighted and showcased in the book. There are floating increases and branch increases and all sorts of everything you want. There's honeycomb brioche. There's inverted double knitted brioche, so that you can switch the colours over so that your dominant colour becomes your recessive colour and your recessive colour becomes your dominant colour, without having to resort to a buffer zone of garter stitch, or without having to resort to an odd number of stitches. It does all the work for you. It really, really does. And I'm so excited that it's finally there. So this is my caveat to selling on Ravelry. Ravelry has a file size limit of 50 megabytes, and my book is 205. So I can't upload the actual file to Ravelry. However, what I've done is I've created a sample version of the book, the ebook, which contains 80 pages from it. It's the first 60 and then 20 from later on. And so when you purchase your copy of the book on Ravelry, what you'll be able to do is immediately download the sample, the 80-page sample. So there's plenty of reading to be getting on with, plenty of stuff to be having fun with, while I get a message saying that you've made a purchase, and then I will immediately, as soon as I possibly can, email a download link for you where you can download the full copy. That's the only way I can think of to get this sorted in the way I need. Believe me, I've looked into lots of different alternatives. If anyone's got any ideas that might work for me, then please say so. I mean, PayHip is one thing that people are talking about. PayHip has a 2 gig file size limit, which is great, but it doesn't deal with download taxes in all the territories that I need to sell to. Ravelry does deal with all the taxes in the way that I need it, which means I don't have to file a tax return in every country where somebody buys it, which would be an absolute nightmare and would put me out of business instantly. But Ravelry has the file size limit, so that's why I've had to do it that way. Etsy has a file size limit of only 20, and it just wasn't even worth bothering about. So it's done. It is done. I urge you to be brave, to jump in. This stuff is not anywhere near as complicated as it looks. I hold your hand through every stage of the way. There's a couple of people who are already, of my backers, who are already contacting me and saying, it's so lovely reading this and hearing it in your voice, Nathan. It's like having you sitting next to me, showing me how it's all done. And that's exactly what I wanted it to be. That's what I've always wanted my teaching resources to be, because without being able to actually get something across to somebody, what's the point of doing it? I am so pleased. I keep saying it, but honestly, it's such a relief to have it finally ready to go. So if you are watching, little edit there because my phone ran out of storage, that was annoying. So as I was saying, if you are watching this video now and you're one of my backers, and you have not yet heard from me about receiving your copy of the book. Now, let me explain. So the reward tiers that I offered with the Kickstarter, anything above £25, if you pledged anything above £25, that made you eligible for a copy of the book. And so for anybody who has pledged more than £25 and paid me that wonderful money, thank you so much. Then you are eligible for a copy of the finished book. If you're reading this, what do I think this is? If you're watching this podcast and you haven't yet, and you are eligible and you haven't yet got your copy of the book, then please contact me, nathan@sockmatician.com, and let me know, because as of the time of recording this, which I've just realised is not the 11th, it's the 13th. No, it's the 12th. It's the 12th. What day is it? It's the 12th. It's the 12th of April. It's Wednesday, the 12th of April. I genuinely don't know what date it is. It's Wednesday, the 12th of April. There we go. What an idiot. So ignore everything I said at the beginning. It's Wednesday, the 12th of April. If you still haven't heard from me and you're eligible for a copy of the book as one of my backers, please let me know, nathan@sockmatician.com, and I will put that right. As of today, this is what I was saying, Wednesday, the 12th of April, at the time of recording, even though this will be after the 15th by the time you hear it, as of today, there are still about 30 people, at least 30 people, who, as far as I can tell, have not downloaded their copy. So I've got tracking information on the links that I'm sending out on how many people are downloading it. So I don't have any data of who these people are, just the number of downloads from that link. So at the moment there are at least 30 people who haven't. So if you're them, please do let me know, nathan@sockmatician.com, and I will put that right, because you absolutely deserve it, and I need to make sure you get it. I have to say, trying to get these messages out has been a bit of a nightmare, and to all of my backers, whether you have the book or not, I do apologise for any of the glitches that have been happening. It seems the Kickstarter website doesn't always communicate with people when I send communications through it. I would have thought the Kickstarter website system, the email system they have a message system and an update system, was the most convenient way of getting through to people, and the best way to do it, because that's how they contacted me in the first place. So what you can do is you can send out updates as a project creator, and I can send out an update, and the update should send a notification to all my backers when I post an update on the website, and saying to them, there's an update, and you can either read it, I think, in the email, or you can go to the webpage and look at it there. You can also send messages to your backers. The updates are public for anyone who stumbles across the page on the Kickstarter website. The messages are private, and they go into the inbox of the backer themselves. And it's all done through the Kickstarter website again, but I send a message on there, and the backer should get a notification to say that they've got it, and they can either read it on there, I think they can even respond to it, or they can go to their Kickstarter account and read all the messages there. Within that, I can send messages to all backers, push something out to everybody, or I can send it to certain reward tiers or groups of people or individual backers. Now, it seems that while many people were getting all of the communications I was sending, a concerning number were not. Some people were getting all the notifications about updates, but nothing about messages. Some people were getting the updates and the messages I was sending out to everybody, but not the messages I was sending out to them individually, which is so frustrating. And some people weren't getting anything at all. So I spent, the 31st of March was the release date for the backers, and I spent 2 days individually messaging every single one of my nearly 500 backers personally and directly, because I wanted them to know how much I care and appreciate their support, and addressing every single message one at a time with their name, making sure they got some personal love and attention. Many people did not get those messages. So I then spent, about a week later, I spent another 2 days individually emailing people off the Kickstarter website, because I've got a spreadsheet with all their email addresses on it, making sure that, again, I addressed each individual email to each individual person and sent 500 emails over the course of 2 days. And a lot of that picked up a lot of people. Some people were still not getting those either. So I then sent out another update on the website saying, if you haven't heard from me, please get in touch. And this is now what I'm doing again. So I'm just trying to whittle down, closing the gap on how many people have yet to be contacted. Obviously, for my backers, who I love and respect and have so much great gratitude for, this is not a one-time offer. Even if at any point you, and this goes for anybody who purchases their book as well, if at any point you lose it, delete it, mislay it, corrupt it, or anything like that, I will always have a record of your sale. Ravelry will give me that, or you'll be one of my backers, and I've always got that information. So just let me know, and I will push it back out to you. That's always going to be the case. And so that's essentially the problem I've been having with Kickstarter, and I'm so sorry if that's left you thinking, well, where's my book? Please let me know. Likewise, if somebody buys a copy and doesn't hear from me within 24 hours with the full download, contact me, nathan@sockmatician.com. I will always be happy to help as much as I can to make sure this goes as smoothly as possible, because I just want it to work. I just want everybody to learn this technique, to be able to halve their knitting time with brioche. It's a slightly different fabric. It is a different way of looking at stuff, and it's a different fabric to create. It's not the same structure as traditional brioche. But all of that's explained in the book. I've spoken about that over the last few years. I'm not going to do any more about that now. But I can say with my hand on my heart, the eagle has landed. If anybody is not a Ravelry user, it's very, very difficult, as I said, to find a platform that can do this off Ravelry because of digital download taxes and things like that. And Ravelry sorts that out really, really well. However, I understand that there are people out there who don't use Ravelry for whatever reason. And I understand that and I appreciate that. So if you would like to purchase a copy of the ebook off Ravelry, then please do get in touch with me. If you possibly can use Ravelry, that would make my life a lot easier. But if you can't, if you really genuinely can't, then do get in touch, because I don't want you to go without. And obviously I want to make the sale as well. So I will help you with that as much as I can. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, I can't remember. I told you, I don't know what this podcasting is all about anymore. But I think I probably should show some knitting, because that's what we're here for, right? I'm not going to go into all of the well, do you know what? I wasn't going to, but this is The Eagle Has Landed. So what I'll do now is I'm going to show you as many of the patterns in the book as I possibly can. There'll be a lot of crinkling, they're all in separate bags. So why don't I do that? I wasn't planning to do that, but this is a book about the book. This is a podcast about the book. So some of these you'll probably have seen in the past, but in their truest layout, I've just shown you some of this scarf. So this is the Treevolution scarf, and it's very light. It's made with fingering weight yarn and 4-ply, and it is a really interesting. It's going to be difficult to see the colours here. It's yellow and orange. You can see orange on one side and yellow on the other. There you get to see the two sets of colours, and it's called Treevolution because as the scarf evolves, it follows the form of a tree. So the first section is the bark of a tree, so it looks very, very barky. And the interesting thing about this pattern is that this pattern is random. So there are some rules that you need to follow in order to create it, and with just an increase and a decrease next to each other at some point in these rows, you create your own adventure here. So no two bark sections of a Treevolution scarf will ever be the same. I think that's quite exciting. At a certain point here, can you see across here, the bark gives way to plain brioche rib, double knitted brioche rib, of course. There's the branches of the tree, and as the tree gets a little bit longer, it gets wider and spreads out into this blossom shape here and ends up with a frilly sort of gathered flounce there. So there's quite a lot going on with that scarf, and it's really pretty. I really like that. That's the Treevolution scarf. Everything in separate bags because, you know, moths, just in case. Then there are two items called cuff muffs. I've showcased all these before. This is a cuff muff. This is what it looks like. You can see it starts off with some double knitting and then balloons out. There's actually no increase of stitch count here from between there and there at all. It's literally, that's the gauge of double knitting, and that's the gauge of the same number of stitches in double knitted brioche. So you put it on your hand like that, you see, and then you've got one hand free, that if you're out and about, you can keep your hand warm, keep your hands warm together in there, which is lovely and cozy. But you can always take one out if you want to phone or anything like that, and you can tidy it up a little bit, tie it up there. Obviously all of these things are completely reversible. You could if you wanted to, you could wear it the other way round. You could knit two of these and wear it like that, just to keep your sleeves warm, to keep your lower arms warm, so that it doesn't allow wind to go up there, and I think that'd be very cozy indeed. That's a cuff muff. It's a muff with a cuff. Then there's the cuff muff double ender, don't smirk, which looks like this, and it's a cuff muff which has got two ends on it, so if you wanted to, you can wear it like that. But it's also a really nice idea to wear one of these with somebody else, so you could be holding hands with somebody else and keeping your hands warm at the same time. And it's got this lovely lattice pattern working there. This is some this is actually double knitting. This is reverse stocking stitch double knitting across here and round here, and this is just increases and decreases, judiciously spaced to make that lovely lattice. That's the cuff muff there. What's next? I've got, what's in here? Oh, it's just a load of old swatches, don't need to show those. Oh, here we go. These are called Mitts About You. There's some lovely mittens here. They are very, very simple, but they showcase syncopated double knitted brioche. Can you see how the colours seem to swap from the orange at the top there to the red down the bottom there? But if you look here, the lines of red knit stitches become the purl ditches, and the lines of orange knit stitches become the purl ditches there. So we haven't actually changed colour, we've just changed where something becomes a knit and something becomes a purl, if that makes sense. Does that make sense there? Yep. And they've got a little thumb hole there. So they worked in the round, then they worked backwards and forwards, and they worked in the round again. And you can wear them in a variety of different ways. You can have them with a, so squishy and so warm. You can wear them with a nice cuff like that. You can always tuck your thumb if you get really, really cold, or you can wear them folded back like that as a really, really nice fingerless mitt. And they're so cozy. They feel really, really lovely, and I enjoy wearing those on a cold day very, very much. What's next? So this is a hat. I'm not going to wear any of my hats because I've got to go out in a minute, and I've done my hair and I don't want my hair to flatten down. But this is a hat called Show Me Your Backside. And it's called that very specifically because it's the only pattern in the book which is made with with stocking stitch double knitted brioche. So as you can see here, every column of stitches is a knit stitch. The texture, if you spread it apart, it is a little unusual. It's not a rib, but it's quite unusual. And this is reverse stocking stitch double knitted brioche. So this is the only thing that on the inside it looks completely different. It's just like a stocking stitch hat is not reversible. It is, but it's different on the inside. And that's the crown. It's got this wonderful square crown, which is Very, very beautiful indeed. So that's the Show Me Your Backside hat. Big fan of that one. Then in this bag here, oh, this is my Thank You Beata hat. Now this is named after my friend Beata, who helped me with developing this. In fact, she sort of accidentally discovered it herself, and then we worked on it together, and I did some more things with it. This is honeycomb double knitted brioche, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful texture. If I stretch it out for you, can you? It's really hard to get this on camera. Oh, look at that. It's got this lattice work, honeycomb lattice work over the top of it. And unlike ordinary honeycomb brioche, which is not reversible, that's what the inside looks like. It's just perfectly the same on both sides. It's so drapey, so bouncy. This hat starts with it's quite a long, slouchy hat. It starts with a rib, then goes into the honeycomb brioche, which is so easy to do in the round. You just go to an odd number of stitches, and then you just keep doing normal brioche, and it currently looks like this because every round stacks up on itself in a different way. And then it's got this rather endearing crown where everything just comes in together. It's so lovely. You can wear it in a variety of ways. I tend to wear it with the brim, like a really heavy brim, cuffed up like that, and then nice and slouchy at the back. Or of course you can wear it the other way out. So bouncy, so deliciously bouncy. What honeycomb brioche can do for you. Then you've got this is the pitchfork hat. There's two versions of the pitchfork hat. The pitchfork hat looks like this. Is that nice? You can see these little pitchforks here. That's why it's called that. And this is the beanie version, which is in 5 sections. Can you see there? The crown comes together in 5 places. Well, comes together with 5 sections coming into one. And again, it's got, that's the jog. Why would I show you the jog? It's got this little section of reverse stocking stitch double knitted brioche, double knitting, and then the simple pattern of increases and decreases to create this section, and then you're into the crown. So it's very simple, and that's a sort of beanie, ideally worn without a cuff. But there is also the 6 section version of this, which is exactly the same. It's just bigger, so it just makes for a slouchy hat. This one you can cuff up, you can wear sort of like that, showing it. It's just if you've got lots of hair or a really big head, which I'm not judging, you can see that's made in 6 sections there. So that's the pitchfork hat. It just goes on forever, doesn't it? There's loads of this. What's in here? So this is the first pattern in the book. Leg warmers. They're called Hot As. They are... It's just a tube. But this is your practice piece. This is, you can wear these, well, you know, we all know what leg warmers are for, but it's so cozy to wear these around the house. Oh my goodness. In the evening, if you're just in your dressing gown and you want to slip some leg warmers on, then these are just so gorgeous. And of course, it's double knitted brioche, so you can turn it inside out and have a grey one and a pink one. nothing to it there really. Well, that's not that bad. That one lives in there. And then now this is a hat that has got quite a long history. There are 3 versions of this hat. Oh, well, one of them's not here. The most recent one is not in the bag. I thought it should be. I don't think I can see it. Anyway, so, but this hat I originally designed for the Knitter magazine, and God, ages ago, when I was still calling this One Pass Brioche, and because it's got double knitted brioche cables in it, which are really lovely, and double knitting sections as well, and that crown, look at the way that comes together. Oh, I love it. Designed this for the Knitter magazine. They asked me to simplify the pattern using traditional brioche, Actually, it's not simpler to make in traditional brioche. I find it much, much harder. So I created this version for them, which is traditional brioche here. And it was so difficult to work this into the hat like this. It made life so much more difficult. I originally called the hat Rest on Your Laurels. It was published under the name Ben Nevis. I didn't choose that. I genuinely, to this day, I don't know why it was called Ben Nevis. And I've knitted it again, going back to the original way, and it's now been published the way I wanted it to be published, with actual double knitted brioche, because you can just flow from double knitted brioche into double knitting so easily in a way that you can't with traditional brioche. And it's now got a brand new name. It's now called Bilrust, which is B-I-L-R-O with an umlaut over the top, S-T, Bilrust, which is in Norse mythology is the shimmering rainbow path from the land of men to the realm of the gods. Ooh, very noisy, windy outside, windy and rainy. A lot of people will know that as Bifrost, and it's I haven't made an error, and neither have you. It's known as both. I loved the name Bilrust. I think it's so beautiful, and it was named by one of my backers. Actually, that's one of the things that they pledged for was the opportunity to name some of the patterns in the book, and they did. David and Sherry, thank you very much for that. They came up with the name. They came up with the name Bifrost, but there are lots of patterns on Ravelry called Bifrost already. So when I found out there was this alternative spelling, I actually liked the word better. So Bilrust it is. Now that was that. What's going on here? No, that's not part of it. There are still loads more things to show you. Oh, here we go. Here's the new Bilrust hat. Perfect timing. So I've knitted that in. It's getting very bright out there. Sorry about that. Let's try and there we go. Is that I don't know what that means. If I try and tap my phone on there, we'll just flood out that bit of that. There we go. It's a bit fluffy. So this is the new Bilrust. I can put that in the bag with the others now. Then, of course, you've got... oh, here they are. This is what I wanted to show you. Next, this is the Rhodian Sun cowl, which is just to be worn around the neck, and it's just... It looks a bit like that. I'm not going to ruin my hair, but it looks a bit like that. I love this cowl. I really do. I've knitted it with the 6 stripes of the Pride rainbow flag from the Sockmatician edition range. All of these, apart from the cuff muffs, are all knitted with the Sockmatician edition yarn range, which is available from sockmasiblings.com. So if you head to sockmasiblings.com, then you can buy the yarn there. All of the patterns in the book, apart from 2 or 3, are knitted with the Sockmatician edition yarn range, and it is so delicious. It's merino, alpaca and possum from New Zealand, and it is absolutely so soft and so squishy. And these are the colours I've chosen to work it in. So it's all in stripes. My phone's doing some wiggly things with its that's going to get in my way. It's so beautiful, and this texture, this is the same lattice texture from the cuff muff actually. So if you the double ender, if you've worked one, then you'll be able to do the other with great ease. These are not cables. I know they look like it, but they're not. It's all done with what I call deck inks. Now, deck ink is a combination of a decrease and an increase into the same spot. I can't do anything about this lighting. That was not supposed to happen. It was raining horribly when I started this podcast. It's not now. I'll try to if I get there. Is that a bit better? It's not really, is it? If I go to here, oh, listen, it just is what it is. At least if I go like that, you can see it properly. How's that? There you go. There's a nice light on it there. So what you do is you work a decrease where the 2 parallel strands come together, and then into that same spot at the same time you work an increase. So you decrease and immediately increase, so your stitch count actually stays the same. This obviously fully reversible and looks gorgeous on the inside as well, with the colours more muted in the background. I love it. And it comes with a matching hat, which is a little beanie hat with a crown that just makes me want to cry. It's so, so beautiful. So there they go together very nicely. So that's those. And then we've got this. This is the moon phase scarf. Now, I love this scarf. Do you know, I'm just gonna try and position myself. Which doesn't make any difference at all, is it? Everywhere I go, there's gonna be it's gonna be there behind me. So there's nothing I can do about the lighting, I'm afraid. Here is the moon phase scarf. I absolutely love this one. I love them all really, but this one is a particular favourite of mine. It's a mixture of double knitted brioche, there we go, and double knitting. Now usually double knitted brioche and double knitting, their gauge is so very different that they gather in or flare out, as you saw with the cuff muff cuffs. With a few shenanigans, you can make it so that the gauge across the two is exactly the same. Look, there's no gathering in at all, and that circle is pretty perfect there. This is the moon phase because it's the phases of the moon. So there you've got the dark moon, you've got the little crescent moon coming along here, and then it's slightly larger, and then slightly larger again, and then it's the half moon, and it goes the other way, waxing, 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 like that, and then like that, and then to the full moon there with a little syncopated double knitted brioche faux fringe there. It's long, it's incredibly cozy, it is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm a big fan. Then we move on to the three really big pieces. I've only got three more to show you. One is the poncho, which I know everyone has seen, but it's a monster. It's an enormous 8-pointed star. Can you see the shape of it there? With a huge roll neck collar like that. I'm not going to put it on. It weighs nearly 2 kilograms. It is so delicious. If I stand up and wear it so it's around my neck like that, it comes down to beyond my knees, and I'm 6 feet tall. It is huge, it is glorious, it is the shape of it is just made with yarn over increases and centered double decreases down here. It's absolutely the coziest thing in the world. It is magnificent to wear. You can just open it up like a massive blanket, you know, which you can always, you know, if you're wearing it like a blanket, for example, like this, it's useful to be able to access TV remotes and things like that. So the neck hole is dual purpose, most definitely. It's so warm, it's DK weight yarn, and it's a monster. It's an absolute monster, and I love it so much. So that's that. Then, okay, this is a bad shirt to wear. I might have to change my, oh, look. It's all shedding all over me. Two more things I want to show you. This is the Just Leaf Me Here blanket. So this one really is a blanket. It was a sort of a wrap and a blanket and a sort of scarf. It's enormous. It is, this is it folded in half. And it's so you can see it's using inverted double knitted brioche to give these contrast coloured lines at periodic intervals, and then just once somewhere on the blanket it opens up into this beautiful leaf pattern. So and then at the end, at one end of there's this panel of honeycomb double knitted brioche, which is so drapey and so beautiful. But if I hold the blanket up, you can see the leaves, and there's a lot of it. There's an absolute mountain of it. It is, it's taller than I am. It's well, it's about 6 feet long, depending on how you stretch it. And of course the back looks just as lovely, and there's the leaves there. But what I love most about this is made with 4-ply, so it's much lighter than the poncho. But if you gather it up, it's so light, it becomes like a really amazing scarf. It's big and bouncy and absolutely lovely, but I'm hard pushed. This is a really difficult thing for me to admit, because these are all my babies. I think this is my favourite. Of all the patterns in the book, I think this is my favourite. It's super easy as well, because most of it is just double knitted brioche rib with a little bit of inverted double knitted brioche rib here and there throughout it, and then only one at a time. You're only going to be working one leaf at a time. So as you work across, you only come to one leaf, and then you've got some ribbing, and then you do another leaf at another point. So it's super easy. And finishing with the honeycomb double knitted brioche is a piece of cake. It really is. But just look at that beauty. Look how diaphanous it is. You can see me through it, and then on the other side it looks like that. It's just, it's light, it's airy, but it's so warm. It's lofty. It's light, but it's so warm, and you can wear it wrapped around you as a big old wrap as well. So it's a shawl, it's a blanket, it's a wrap, it's a scarf. It is heaven. It really is one of my, if not my absolute favourite item that I've possibly ever knitted. There we go. And then finally we've got the shawl. What's in there? Is there something I haven't shown you? Oh yeah, there's one other thing before we get onto the shawl. There's this cowl, which is a nice introduction to using double knitting and double knitted brioche in the same thing. And this is called block, because it's block and block, and that's just nice little neck cowl there. That's nice and easy and nice and simple. And then I still don't judge me. I still haven't woven in the ends on this. So this, sorry about this. I just can't get the lighting right. This shawl is the My Friend Rowena shawl, and it looks like this. It's an asymmetric triangular shawl, so it starts off, you start knitting it here, so easy cast on, and you just make the increases along one side, which look really nice. You're making increases right at the very edge. Lovely. And then you've got these panels of lace. That's right, double knitted lace. Look at that. Look at these holes, aren't they gorgeous? And inverted double knitted brioche. So you've got standard and inverted mode, and you get another section of that, and then you get another bigger section of that with this huge bouncy flounce at the end, which has got massive increases. Can you see how all of those come out of that one hole? It is just glorious. And so the way I like to wear it is put that one over that shoulder, bring it round, and let it hang that way, because it's got so much, there's so much weight in the flounce. So squishy, so lovely, and so gorgeous. So oh, there you go, there's my hair gone already. So I'm a massive fan of all of these things. The My Friend Rowena shawl was a co-design between me and my friend Rowena Davies, who pledged for the reward tier for the opportunity to design a pattern for the book with me, and we worked together over Zoom, because she doesn't live in this country, and we worked together over Zoom. I got to know her and got to know her tastes and gave her lots of options, and together we shaped the colours, the choices, the textures, the structure, everything came from... Okay, not only did my phone run out of storage again, I don't know what's going on with it this time. I think Netflix has been downloading things on the sly without my permission, so I've sorted that out, but I've also changed location slightly to to deal with that. So that's that's all the patterns in... Oh my goodness, I shed. That's all the patterns in the book. Sockmatician's Double Knitted Brioche ebook is available right now on Ravelry for £25 only, plus whatever taxes are due in your relevant country. So if it's showing us more than that, please don't write in. That's how Ravelry collects its taxes. So if you're in a country where VAT is chargeable, then it'll be £25 plus the VAT in your country, or GST, or whatever it is where you live. Excuse me, I've been talking for far too long, and I've forgotten how it works. I've forgotten how to do all that. So there you go. That's the book. I'm so proud of it. I can't tell you how much it means to me to have had the support from my backers. They've been wonderful. They picked me up at a time when things were really, really tough and dark for me. And I'm back, babies. I feel I don't want to dwell on old things, but there are a lot of people who would be very happy to see that that I went away completely, and I'm sure they must think that I have done and that they won. Well, they didn't. I've just been really, really busy doing lots of stuff for the knitting world, because I think this book is a game changer. I really, really do. The one thing that it doesn't just teach people how to do double knitted brioche. It teaches people as well how to translate a pattern for traditional brioche into double knitted brioche. So if you want to take one of Nancy Marchant's beautiful, amazing, wonderful brioche patterns and you want to knit it in half the time and you want it to be equally beautiful on both sides, now you can. And that, I think, makes it a bit of a game changer. So I really hope everyone's going to love it. Buy it, go out and buy it. You will not regret it. It would be money well spent. There's so much in it for you to learn, to practice, and to enjoy. I can't recommend my own work highly enough. So in the meantime, with all that going on in the background, what have I been knitting? Well, there's a scarf here. I'm just going to stand up and get this scarf, which you've probably seen before, but maybe not with these colours. Now, this is also double knitted brioche. This is not one of the patterns that's in the book. This is called the cascable scarf. You may have seen it as a sort of grey and green version before. Unfortunately, that went away to a photo shoot because someone wanted to wear it in a photo shoot and it didn't come back to me. It got left on a tube. Not their fault. My dear husband's fault. He was horrified, but I knitted another one. So that means I get to see it again. This is done with, you see the texture is just gorgeous. It's double knitted brioche cables, and this is really, really super long, and it's quite slender, so it wanted to be long so you can wrap it around as many times as you like. This is a pattern that will be coming out in the next few months. I want to sort of keep back some of the... I've got some other double knitted brioche stuff that has not gone into the book for deliberate reasons, so I want to keep some of that back to make sure that there's something else to whet people's appetites. That's that one. I have also, I'm sitting behind it, I've gone back to my roots of double knitting. I love double knitted brioche and I'm not done with it yet by all means. There's still loads more stuff that I want to achieve with it. But I wanted to do something that was just plain and simple double knitting without any shenanigans going on, just pictorial, graphic double knitting. And this is the scarf that it doesn't have a name yet. Gosh, I can't tell you how much I love it. I wear it quite a lot, so I need to make sure I get all the photographs of it done before it starts to look a bit tatty. And I need to write this pattern up and get this one out as soon as I can. What you may or may not notice, that in the middle of the scarf, that's the centre line. No, is it? No, That's the centre line. These, that spade and that club are now facing each other. That's because I wanted it so that when you wear it, just hanging down like that, your cymbals are always the right way up. This is so lovely. The amazing thing, the placement of these cymbals took me a long time to deal with. I wanted everything to represent hearts, clubs, diamonds and spades. So at the bottom of the scarf, you've got this square of 4. Hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. And then in the next group of 4, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. And all the way up, anytime, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. Anytime you can draw a square around 4 symbols, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades, obviously on both sides. Now sometimes it's a red spade on a black background, but that's because obviously on the other side it's a black spade on a red background. But I didn't want it to be all correct on one side and all incorrect on the other. So you've got, let's start with a side. So this side, red heart, black spade, black club, red diamond. That's what you'd expect. When you get up to the next group of 4, they're all reversed. So it's correct on one side and correct on the other side. So that works that way. Also, hearts, clubs, spades, diamonds. So any line of 4, spades, diamonds, hearts, clubs. Any line of 4, anywhere you want to go on the scarf, diamonds, hearts, clubs, spades, also has one of them. The if I show you the 2 ends of the scarf, this is so ridiculous. The 2 ends of the scarf, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. I really worked hard at getting all of these placements correct. This scarf it's actually made, you see how dense it is and how thick it is. It's made with 2 strands of fingering yarn held together. So 2 strands of it's actually dark grey, 2 strands of the dark grey and 2 strands of the red held together. So it's equivalent of a DK weight yarn, but because there's less loft in the 4-ply than there is in the DK weight, so it makes a much denser fabric to hold 2 4-plies together, and I love that. Feels really heavy, but of course it's beautifully stretchy and everything that double knitting that you want from double knitting. So this is one that will be coming out soon as well. I've got dozens of patterns, or probably dozens of patterns that have been knitted in the last 3 years. Well, I haven't been releasing anything because I've been working so hard on the book, but in my downtime, of course, I'm still knitting. So that's this one. It doesn't have a name yet. Suits you? I don't know. And then I wanted to, you remember in the last episode, or the last but one episode, I showed my marled garter scarf, which had some double knitted cables popping out of the marling. It's not easy to get to, but I'll pop back and look at that. Well, I wanted to play some more with marling and double knitting together, and I wanted to make a little hat. And I love this hat. It's really fun. This is what it looks like. So it starts off with a rib. Let's get some light over here. Starts off with a rib with marling the 2 colours together. It's the orange and the blue from the Sockmatician edition range. The orange and the blue marled together in a rib, and then just for a couple of rows, I separate the 2 colours out and go into double knitting. So on this side of the hat, the bottom stripe is orange, but on the inside of the hat, the bottom stripe is blue. And then because I wanted, like a scarf is garter stitch, I'm knitting in the round. I didn't want to do garter stitch in the round. Garter stitch in the round is a bit of a faff because every other round you have to purl and then you get a jog. I didn't want any of that. So what I've done is I went into moss stitch. So moss stitch, of course, is completely reversible, marling the two colours together, and then another layer of, I think it's just 2 rows of double knitting there. So again, the colours are reversed on the inside. And then I opened out into complete double knitting for this section, and the symbols are a star, a circle, a cross, some vertical wavy lines, and a square. Now, for anybody who recognises these are the so-called ESP symbols that people used to check for telepathic powers using those. I was obsessed with these as a kid. They're called the Zener symbols, named after the of the person who developed them. I say scientist, but I don't know if his science has been debunked or not. But so this is the Zener hat, Z-E-N-E-R, the Zener hat, and it's not available yet, but it will be soon. And then using a similar sort of technique for these, when I went into the crown, I thought, well, let's just go into double knitting for the decrease stitches only. But if you're doing that, you can choose which colour you want them to be. So that crown is everything. I absolutely love that. So it's mostly moss stitch and some little pops of double knitting, and it's very nicely. It's a lovely little beanie hat with that gorgeous crown. So that's coming out very, very soon. And all that remains to be said is to show you what's on my needles currently. Now, I've got 2 projects on the go, one of which has been on the go for ages. I think you've probably seen some of it. This is just a scrappy old scarf, which looks really, really, it's lovely. I really do like it. I don't know what that means. It looks like double knitting, but it's not. Double knitting, but it's not. Can you see? It's the same. It's not reversed on each side. It's the same. So this is done with, it's a sort of ribbed mosaic knitting. This was a technique that I discovered in the, not I discovered, I came upon in the Jane Neighbours book. What's it called? What is it called? It's here. It's the Reversible 2-Colour Knitting by Jane F. Neighbours, and it's just a really, really interesting way. You work with one colour at a time. You work outwards and back with one colour, knitting some stitches and slipping some others, but in a rib. So it is actually a rib. So if you open it up, you can see how the rib pattern comes apart. But it's just this, and I'm just using up any scraps of colour that I have. It's going on forever. It takes forever. It's taken forever because it's big, and I've been busy with other things. It's actually very, very simple to knit. I'm enjoying it immensely, and I need to get back to it because I've left it for a while because I've been obsessed with my current baby, which is, again, just double knitting with a couple of increases and decreases, which I'm very, very excited about, because it's a scarf which is not, it's not the shape you'd imagine it to be. It's hard to hold it up. Ooh, look at this, look. So it starts there, and then using some very simple increases and decreases, you get this wonderful Art Deco style effect with these big broad scallops here and little points on the other side. So it's, in effect, it's sort of, the shape of the outside is not straight, but the scarf is straight, if that makes sense. So the shapes cancel each other out. So I mean, I think it may be on a slight curve. It's hard to tell, but I absolutely love it. And it's literally just done with increases and decreases, allowing these lines of 2x2 rib, essentially. So I've got purl stitches in between the knit stitches. It's such a simple knit. Once you get the pattern set up, you know exactly what you're doing because it's so instinctive. You can see everything at any point. You're always knitting into a green knit stitch with a green knit stitch and purling into a brown purl stitch with a brown purl stitch or an orange purl stitch. It's so glorious. And again, I am knitting this with 2 strands of 4-ply of each colour held together because I really like that dense feeling that you get. And you can see how it's really, really dense. As I wear it, it doesn't collapse around me. It's a really, really sort of firm fabric, but yet still really soft and bouncy. So that will be coming out in the next few months as well. And that, I think we've been talking for way too long. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing these things with you again. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. I hope you're happy I'm back, because I'm happy I'm back. And if we're all happy, then everyone's happy, and that's great. I'm, as I said, I'm so excited about the launch of Sockmatician's Double Knitted Brioche ebook, which you can purchase on Ravelry, or do contact me directly and I'll sort you out. But do it on Ravelry if you can, it's much easier for me. And other than that, head to sockmasiblings.com. And I should say that the book is fully interactive. I haven't even mentioned this. The book is fully interactive. So it's got a clickable table of contents. It's been fully indexed by the wonderful Fred Lees, who's got 30 years of indexing experience behind him in America, and has brilliantly done an amazing job for me there. And so all of the page references are clickable, all the cross references are clickable links within it, so you can navigate your way around it. There's got a clickable table of contents down the side if you show that on your PDF reader, and all of the hyperlinks in it can click straight to the websites that they go to, or straight to the video tutorials. And there's QR codes there as well, so if you're printing out bits of it and you want to scan the QR codes, it's all fully interactive. All 464 pages work that way for your ease of navigation. It really is. I'm so pleased with it. I'm so pleased with it. I can't wait to share it with you all. So now that you've watched this, head over to Ravelry, go to Sockmatician's Sock Shop, or just search Sockmatician's Double Knitted Brioche on the pattern pages, and you'll go straight to the ebook page there. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. It does mean the world to me that you're part of my journey onwards. I'm back now, and I hope to be doing more podcasts much more regularly. So I will see you on the next one. But until then, this podcast episode really is a finished object. So what do I normally say? So whatever I'll have to look it up, I've forgotten. But however you, but life, that's it, I remember, life is a work in progress. Just take it one stitch at a time. With all my love. Mwah. Bye-bye. Zip.